Are you someone who wears your emotions on your sleeve? Or are you someone who keeps those emotions close? Are you someone who could quickly name the emotion you're feeling? Or do you struggle to express what you're going through? When our kids were younger, we had a counselor who was helping us work through some stuff that tied to both our school and our home. And he gave us this chart with a bunch of different two-dimensional kind of emoji faces on it. There was, for example, a smiling face that said happy. There was a snoozing one that said sleepy, a red-faced one that said angry, one that had eyes looking off to the side that said distracted. There were tons of them. And this counselor, he encouraged us to use this chart with our kids to help them actually name how they were feeling in any particular moment. When was the last time you were honest about naming your emotions? If you live in Minnesota, I'm guessing you might have heard the phrase Minnesota nice. I'm not sure where it originated. I didn't research that, but in my experience, sometimes it plays out in this way. You see someone you know in the grocery store. You walk up to them and you smile and you say, "Hi, how are you?" And how do they respond? "I'm fine. How are you?" It doesn't matter if they had the worst day in the history of days, if they'd just gotten bad news at work, or their kids had been whining all day and they just needed a break. If they'd gotten a heartbreaking diagnosis for themselves or a family member, it doesn't matter because they are too Minnesota nice to unload these issues on you in the produce aisle. The emotion of fine is all they can muster. But what would it look like for you and for me to not be fine? To have that emotion chart in our back pocket at all times in case we needed a reference point? To realize that we all have issues and feelings, and it helps us if we get out of our heads by expressing them, when we name them and talk about them with other people. In Psalm 139, we read these beautiful words that I think remind us that even God wants us to experience more than fine. We read, "O Lord, you have searched me and known me. You know when I sit down and when I rise up. You discern my thoughts from far away. You search out my path and my lying down and are acquainted with all my ways. Where can I go from your spirit, or where can I flee from your presence? If I ascend to heaven, you are there. If I made my bed in Sheol, you are there. If I take the wings of the morning and settle at the farthest limits of the sea, even there your hand shall lead me, and your right hand will hold me fast. If I say, surely the darkness shall cover me, and the light around me become night, even the darkness is not dark to you. The night is as bright as day, for darkness is as light to you. For it was you who formed my inward parts. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made." God knows us not only completely, but intimately. God created us not out of necessity, but out of love. As the one who says there is literally nothing that can separate you from me. There are no issues that are too much for God. There's no amount of darkness that we might be experiencing that can keep us from God. And since we are all fearfully and wonderfully made by this Creator, there's no reason to pretend we are just fine. So next time we see each other in the grocery store, let's practice this. I'll move beyond my thoughts stuck in my head and reference my good old emotion chart, and you reference yours too.